Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where I talk about books from the Book of the Month Club and beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please, if you like my content, like, subscribe, comment, and ring the notification bell. So this video is about this month, the month of December. It happens that my December to be read list is already mostly complete. I've read 4 of the 5 books that I had planned to read for the month. So the one I have left is actually quite short. We're only on the 16th of the month now, so I needed some books. When you need some books, where do you go? Well, I went to my local library to stock up on some more. I've actually been to the library quite a few times lately. We have a very active library system here in the city that I live in, and I've attended a few special events and programs through the library recently. First, a couple of weeks ago, I went to a software class where I learned a little bit more about how to use the program Publisher. So that was interesting. There were a few little things that I was kind of missing, and it was nice to put those pieces together and be able to use that program a little bit more effectively. There are also lots of classes, computer classes and other kinds of classes available online through the library as well. So I'm going to plan to look into that a little bit more in the future. I went to a different library. It's within the same city that I live in, but it's in a more rural area. And so, they have a little bit different programs. They actually had a couple of weekends ago a show of some model trains for Christmas. So that was really interesting to see and, very nostalgic. I remember back in the day, people would always put trains around the Christmas tree and set up their most huge Christmas display and train display during the holidays. So it was fun to see that. Some of them were really quite amazing. There's actually a model train club that came and brought all their trains. They also, at this library, have a little bit more land, like I say, being in a rural area, and they have there a red caboose from a train, an actual caboose that you can go in and take a look at. They're actually renovating, remodeling it, and so one of the people who was involved in doing that, has been involved in doing that, showed us all around the caboose and was really proud to show us and talk to us about the things that he was doing and fixing inside of the caboose. And I had never realized what the caboose is for in the world of trains. It's actually the place where the staff that's working on the train at that time go to take a rest or take a nap if they need to, or get themselves something to eat. That's kind of like their little office area. And so I had never realized that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they get that all completed. And then one more thing, my usual library that I go to has usually a display of different art. Sometimes it's local art, sometimes it's photography. And this month they had some really huge enlargements of artwork from different Christmas books throughout the years. So it was really beautiful, really done well. So that was interesting to see as well. So, what did I check out from the library? Well, first I got a very Virginia Christmas. This is a collection of stories and traditions from over the past 400 years. It says Virginians have created their own traditions using a variety of Christmas lore from other countries. So I haven't read any of the stories in here yet, but I'm looking forward to doing so. It's kind of a thin book. I probably won't read every single story in it, but there are a few that I've seen that I'm pretty interested in taking a look at. Then I also got another novel. This came out, I believe, last year. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. No, it came out, actually I have written down here, it came out in 2022. The author is Gabrielle Zevin. And this is a somewhat of, I believe, a romance. It's a work of contemporary fiction. And this was, in a lot of instances, named one of the best books of 2022. So it'll be interesting to read that and see what I think. And then finally, this is a book that I'm reading now, and it is by one of my favorite authors, and that is, of course, Mr. John Grisham. This book is Camino Winds. It is the second in a series by him. The first is Camino Island, which I read this past summer. This particular series is just kind of slightly different from Mr. Grisham because the books are not really about a lawyer. There may be some characters who are lawyers, but the main character is a bookseller and promoter and somewhat of a lovable scallywag. He gets himself involved in quite a few things. The stories take place in Florida. It's a fictitious island. I used to live in Florida, and so whenever there's something about the island and what's going on there, I picture Key West in my mind. I think, of that place probably most often. This book starts out with a Category 5 hurricane hitting the island, and a murder occurs during the hurricane. And now they're having the investigation, what happened. The person who was murdered was a writer, one of the writers that lives on the island, and he was formerly actually practiced as a lawyer, and he was known to be a whistleblower and to expose different wrongdoings that were going on. So he was working on a novel at the time of the murder, and so it's kind of going down the road of what's the novel about? Did it have some information in it that was so sensitive that it resulted in someone being murdered? And will the killer return to the island? How are they going to find this person? So I'm enjoying it. I'm more than halfway through. There are so many reasons why I love John Grisham's books. First, he's written, I think, pretty close to 50 books. I believe only one is a work of nonfiction. The rest are fiction books. They're mainly legal thrillers. To my knowledge, they all can be read as a standalone, but there are a few series now over the years that he's come out with. Camino, as I mentioned, actually has a third one now that'll be coming out in 2024, and it's going to be called Camino Ghosts. There are two of Grisham's books that featured the same lawyer, this time a female lawyer named Lacey Stoltz. Those two actually both take place in Florida as well. And in them, Lacey is a lawyer who works for an ethics bureau in Tallahassee, and she investigates ethics complaints against Florida judges. The books featuring her are called The Whistler and The Judge's List. The Judge's List in particular, I thought, was one of Grisham's best. It's a very good book, really a good thriller. There are several young adult novels that he wrote that are in a series. They feature a lawyer by the name of Theodore Boone. Those are about the only ones now left by Grisham that I haven't read. And I don't know much about them since I haven't read them, but they're on my radar, and they're young adult books, so they'll probably be a fairly fast read, and I will get to those at some point. Then, of course, you're probably familiar with the lawyer who was featured in one of Grisham's absolutely most popular novels, and that was A Time to Kill. His name is Jake Brigance, and he was played by Matthew McConaughey in the movie. The movie also stars Sandra Bullock and Samuel L. Jackson. It was a very big movie when it first came out. Now there's been a second book written about Jake Brigance called A Time for Mercy. That came out a couple of years ago. And one of the stories in Grisham's book, Sparring Partners, also features Jake Brigance. A Time to Kill was actually Grisham's first novel. It only sold 5,000 copies, so it was not popular. However, it resurged back into popularity when he wrote The Firm, which was one of the novels that really launched Grisham's career. Grisham now recently wrote a sequel to The Firm, so it took 30 years, but we'll get to know further what happened with that story. And that book is called The Exchange, and it's coming out or it has actually just come out. I'm sorry, it has just come out recently. The first Grisham book that I ever read was Pelican Brief, and that was way back in 1992. I loved it. I went back for The Firm and A Time to Kill, and that was it. I was hooked on Grisham. Most of his books start with just a real bang. Something happens that just really draws you right into the story. You just want to turn page after page and find out more about what's going on. Of course, just like anybody else, some of his novels are better than others, but in all, I feel that he is just consistently good. And I've learned a lot about the law from reading his books. His stories have taken on big pharma, HMOs, environmental issues, vigilantism, the death penalty, minors being tried as adults, RICO cases, and just so many topics that are related to our justice system and our system of law in the country. So I've been reading Grisham novels for over 30 years. Mr. Grisham is now 68 years old, so he's just slightly older than I am. And how long will he continue writing? I hope it's forever, since I enjoy his books so much. And it just so happens that Mr. Grisham lives in my state. He lives in Central Virginia. And people who have run into him say that he's very gracious and kind. When you meet him somewhere and approach him, he's very approachable. He'll sign books for you. And he's just a kind of a great guy to meet. So maybe someday that person will be me and I'll run into him. So that's it. Are there any other Grisham fans out there? Comment below. And if you don't like him, that's fine too. I know he's not for everybody, so just let me know what you think. And remember that you are also an author. Maybe you're not a Grisham, but you are writing your own story every day. And it's being written on the hearts of everyone who interacts with you. So make it a story worth savoring, keeping, and remembering. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.